step in the right direction.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's a little earlier today. It's 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. And Luke and I have an insane privilege today to be joined by some serious talent and a new friend of the channel. I've been very excited to talk about Predator 1987 for quite some time now. And it's crazy we're already here. What is the new, there's all these new Predator. There's Predator Badlands. There's Predator Kill of Killers. They just had the anime movie or animated. I don't know which one that was. That might have been Badlands. I don't know. It all meshes together. We're not talking about the new stuff because I'm hearing a lot of mixed reactions. People love the new Predator. People are worried. I don't know where to think. I don't know what to think. I don't know where to start. But let's go back to the beginning where it counts. The OG, Predator 1987, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers. Doesn't really get much better than that. And we have a lot of exciting stories and a lot of interesting dialogue to discuss this movie. We're going to be breaking it down start to finish. And Luke here, this is his first time reacting to the movie, seeing it for himself. I've seen it once before, quite a while ago. I re-examined it again, of course, for this. And there's a lot of fun material here to break down. So let's not waste any time. Let's introduce our wonderful cast, starting with family favorite Kyle Corwith. Always a pleasure having you on, buddy.
Totally.
And Random Film Talk, back again. Good to see you, man. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
The wisdom, the brain that holds us all together. Genius. and then new friend of the channel, Jimmy, the Scottish geek guy. Real fun having you on, man. You and I, we've been trying to work something out for quite some time, so I'm glad we finally made something work.
We have, and it almost didn't happen tonight because I forgot to take into account daylight savings time. When I first put it in the diary, the clocks hadn't changed, but then obviously the clocks did change last week. So in my mind, it was going to start at 10 p.m. UK time, but it actually started at 11 p.m. because I'm an idiot.
Wow, I don't get that. Yeah, so all right, it affected all of us. And yeah, it still hasn't factored for me. My car hasn't changed, so it hasn't made too much of a difference for me at that point. But yeah, we're here talking about Predator though. Jimmy, I just watched your review of the new Predator, and you mostly had some pretty positive things to say. So that was kind of like a breath of fresh air that I needed in all the negative climate. Even though I still don't know who to trust, Jimmy. I still don't know who to trust. I want to believe you, man. I want to believe you.
I think I saw an early press screening, so like a lot of people still won't have seen it yet. I know they did screenings at certain areas. I think a few days ago as well, and the early reviews have been mixed. To go back to what you said there about people talking about it, I didn't love it, but I did really like it. Like I really liked it. So it's not as good as the first Predator, but the first Predator for me is legit a top 10 of all time, but it's definitely a top half of the franchise, I would say.
That's a high bar, right? Getting to that first Predator.
Yeah. I mean, the first Predator is literally a league of its own.
In your review, there was one element of the review that you said that concerned me about the film. Is you're talking about how, what's her name, Elle Fanning, how she talked too much, and that's exactly what I worry about. I do not need her babbling over the main Predator protagonist. That's not what I'm here to watch, and you got me feeling this is gonna happen.
It's not a huge negative, but it was definitely a negative.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we can look past that. But yeah, like I said, we're talking about the first Predator though. In case for whatever reason, viewers, you haven't seen Predator, it's 1987 that for us Gen Zers, that's a long time ago. It's a time that we can't even really picture. But it was you had Arnold, you had Carl Weathers, the muscles of the 80s, right? The late 80s. I had the pleasure of meeting Carl Weathers at a convention. I don't know, in 2021, and I had a great interaction with him. I was mostly there to talk to him about Rocky, of course, because I'm a big Rocky fan, and a lot of people were telling me he was a real douche leading up to that, but I had a pretty good experience with him, so I'm glad it didn't soil my impression of him, because I've had so many bad interactions with actors at cons. Like, please, Carl Weathers, don't do this to me. So he did not let me down, and real shame he passed away recently. He was really one of those, one of the guys, right? One of those guys that is just the man's man. And it's sad. There is no replacement for him at this point. All of the man's men, they're all gone. I mean, there's no one new is stepping up to the plate to fill Arnold's shoes, Stallone's, Carl Weathers. It's kind of sad. That's where we are. But that's really like one of the biggest. That's like the fun of this movie, right? It's a pretty obnoxious film. I was thinking of Predator, and
choice of words.
Well, I don't know. You don't think obnoxious is a good word for it?
Never came to mind.
Maybe.
By the way, I want to corroborate what you just said about Carl Weathers. I worked with him actually on a show. He was doing a show called Chicago Justice, and I was working behind the scenes, and he was nice. He didn't
that's cool.
do anything dickish, or he was very professional and cordial. Man,
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool, man. Well, I'm glad he was cool to you. It's funny how that that works. Sometimes you catch somebody at the wrong time, and then 100 people hear the same story, and then nobody likes somebody eventually because of that. It just goes down the line. But that's cool. Yeah, that'd be cool to work with him. It sucks. It sucks he's gone. It's really like it's a vacuum. Like, we do not see these kind of like, not even like hulking men, but like hulking personalities like Carl Weathers or Arnold. I mean, can you guys think of anybody like that now?
I mean,
not young.
The Rock has been trying to be Arnold for like 15 years, and I think he's just recently given up on that.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I was going to say the Rock is, apart from the Rock, it would have to be one of the ex-wrestlers, like just the people with the giant clown physiques. Possibly, I don't know enough about him, but like John Cena or Dave Bautista, potentially, because the Rock has now shed like half his body weight in muscle or whatever he's done now. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get off the testosterone and the when you get off
finally clean
the steroids.
I hate when that happens.
Thing is, the ironic thing is, everyone's talking about how small he is now. He's still a massively in shape, muscular guy. He's just no longer huge. You know what I mean?
No longer on steroids.
Also, it didn't help that he was wearing a shirt that was too big for him as well. So
yeah.
He looks so tight.
The fashion choices at that thing were interesting.
Something cool about Jimmy is he goes to a lot of these like pressers, don't you? Because I love seeing on your channel you're always interviewing different actors and creatives on set. That's so cool.
Yeah, so something I only started doing that earlier this year. I'm based in Glasgow in Scotland, and kind of I started the YouTube channel I think a couple of years ago now. It mainly started as like a physical media showcase because you can see all. This isn't even all of my Predator stuff in the background there, but it's it's some of it. The channel started as that, and then I kind of morphed into doing reviews as well. But in terms of like like the kind of the film journalism, for lack of a better phrase, type thing, that didn't really start until earlier this year when kind of on a whim I just applied for a press pass at the Glasgow Film Festival, and I got one with no real vetting process, and I was like, oh cool. And then before you know it, I'm like on the red carpet and I'm interviewing Tim Roth, and I'm like,
this is so cool.
This is pretty cool. And so I just kept doing that this year at the various film festivals that are in Scotland, the press events that are happening with the PR agencies. I had a little bit of an in with that world because in my day job I would be like one of the camera guys filming these events. So I know some, I had a bit of an in, and the agencies and stuff like that. Some of them already knew me, but yeah, the press screenings and stuff. That's just one of those ones where you just kind of brass neck it and ask to be put on the list, and then before you know it, you're watching Predator Badlands at 9 a.m. on a Monday before it comes out on the Friday, so that you can put your review out. And as much as people might think, oh well, that just means that's why you give it a positive review because you get to see it early. And I'm just like, I mean, if you want to believe that, I would happily take Disney's money if they wanted me to become a Disney shell, but they're not paying me, so
Nice.
But yeah, so it has been pretty cool getting to see the stuff earlier at press events and going to these film festivals and doing interviews with cast and crew, because like I'm a huge movie fan. I love, so watching movies, talking to people on YouTube about movies, talking to actors and filmmakers about movies, that's never going to not be a good way to spend your time.
Yeah, that's cool. I love how you're able to legitimize YouTube and use it as a tool to further go farther than what you could do without it, right? I mean, you were able to, you're a man of purpose. You've got agency here. That's awesome.
I think as well as it's a generational thing as well. Speaking of, I should go back to I feel like I should confess I'm not a Gen Zer. I'm very much a millennial.
You're not Gen Z.
I'm borderline. Depending on the graph you look at, I might be even Gen X.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm an older fellow, shall we say?
No, you're cool.
But I've lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so the in terms of like you mentioned about legitimizing YouTube and whatnot, I think, and this kind of occurred to me as I was doing these festival chats and interviews and applying for press passes, because I grew up, pre-internet, like doing this job, like interviewing a film director or a film actor, like when I was a kid or even when I was a teenager. That's something that only television had access to. Like you had to be a presenter on a TV station, on a TV show that's on a TV station that's terrestrial broadcast at a certain time on a certain day. That was it. Fast forward 40 odd years and broadcast television doesn't it doesn't exist the way it did before. So legitimizing YouTube, I think it's one of those, it's came hand in hand with like the whole influencer and their TikTok generation and whatnot, because ultimately PR agencies just want to get the word out about their product, whether that's an actual product, whether it's a movie or a TV show or an event. They just want to get the word out. Now, yes, traditional media like television, print, ads, magazines, they still exist, but like they're no longer 100% of the market. They're less than half. I don't know what the actual stats would be, but if agencies and PR agencies want to get the word out about their movie, they're going to turn to social media, and YouTube is still one of the big players in that space. It might not be what the younger crowd gravitates towards, but that's okay, because there's people of a certain age who like to watch 15, 20, 30, 60-minute videos on YouTube as opposed to a 30-second TikTok video where someone just doing a funny dance with a Predator mask on. Not that I'm against doing that,
Oh no. Well, that's what I think, like, I give us a little bit of a pat on the back because we're trying to be different. You know what I mean? And Gen Z really, gosh, so many of them have been lost and their attention span is just shot. I think movies, especially like getting caught up in great classical films, the cult classics like these, they kind of, I don't know, I think they extend your attention span to some effect as well. It's strange. I think it gives you a reason to want to invest in a story further, and in turn to have better attention in life. I think it's odd the way it trains your brain. I think if you're led to a well full of water, full of great water, then you're going to have better lessons that are taught to you. Because I think so many people, a lot of these kids, I really feel bad for the next generation because their well is empty. It's dry because mom and dad are handing them the tablets and they're telling them to watch CoComelon. They want to play these games. And, of course, just little 1 second attention span. They're fed nothing early on content wise. So it's going to be really interesting seeing where that goes in the future. But I think we're early 20s, 23, Luke and I. And I think we're like on the brink of something that could have been worse. But at the same time, we watched TV growing up and we weren't totally shot. Not totally. We were still, screwed up, but not that bad. But it just kind of depends. But back to Predator, of course, in case anybody hasn't seen Predator, it's a classic for a reason. And it's an interesting premise just right off the bat. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is Major Dutch, and he is leading an elite rescue team. They are recruited by the CIA to extract hostages from a guerrilla camp deep within the Central American jungle. Now, right away, Dutch suspects that there's more to the mission than he's being told, and he's right. After a horrifying discovery is made, Dutch and his men must extract before a terrifying predator skins each and every one of them alive. Now, that's just a basic premise. And, Randon and I, we were talking earlier on about how this is like a really well done, simple film. And, when you think back to the movie, you wouldn't think that there's that much to break down, but there really is. And there's a lot of questions that I think are left to be asked that just kind of go deeper into people's intentions and the situation itself. So I'm excited to talk about that. But before we do that, I'm kind of wondering what your guys' first experiences are with Predator, because, I imagine you guys grew up with it, or maybe it had some sort of impression on you at a younger age. So what do you guys think?
I'll jump in first then. So I'm a child of the 80s, and one of the first VHS tapes that I remember having in the house was Predator. So I remember having Predator and Die Hard on VHS. And, back then, you didn't have access to any movies other than what might be broadcast on television. So whatever small VHS collection you had in your house, which was maybe like 4 or 5 tapes underneath the television, you watched the absolute shit out of them. So Predator and Die Hard, before the age of 10, I probably watched both of them. And I'm genuinely not even joking. I probably watched both of them at least 20, maybe even 30 times before I was even 10. So that was my first exposure to Predator, was watching the VHS as a kid, all over and over and over again. And what a movie to watch over and over and over again.
Did that scar you?
Not at all. I think I was my parents weren't that fussed when it came to age ratings for movies, and I'm I'm similar with my own kids. I'm not going to show my kids Terrifier, for example, but
that's good.
But I let them watch The Thing.
Yeah,
I showed the kids The Thing maybe a week or two ago, and
now they don't trust you.
Yeah, definitely not. Oh my gosh,
the middle child, he is 12. He loved it, and I was like, it was like a proper proud dad moment, because I was like, I wasn't sure how they would respond to it, because it's quite a slow paced movie, and as you said earlier on, kids these days don't have a great attention span. I see this firsthand with my own kids, but I do try and educate them in good movies. And so they watched I showed them The Thing, and they didn't hate it. And like I said, the middle child actually really, really enjoyed it. I believe he gave it a 9 out of 10. Nice. So yeah, going back to Predator, myself being allowed to watch that as a kid, like I said, my parents weren't that fussed when it came to like age ratings and whatnot. So I think Predator, I think it is an 18, isn't it? In the UK,
it's an 18 in the UK, yes.
Yeah. So that, like, we had the VHS, it would have had the big red 18 certificate on it, but they didn't mind. We watched it, and I didn't have nightmares. I had no issues with it. I grew up to be, probably an okay human being. So I think age ratings, I get why they exist, but it's really down to the individual parent and then the individual family. I appreciate there's probably lots of parents that were like, I would never show my 12-year-old The Thing. What is wrong with you? You shouldn't. This is terrible. And I'm like, that's you and your family. This is mine, my family. This is me and my family. It was genuinely a proud dad moment. Good, like that my kid enjoyed The Thing. I haven't showed them Predator yet. It's probably not far off being on the list to show them. There is the scenes at the start with the skinned bodies where I'm like, that's maybe a bit much. However, they managed The Thing okay. So they would probably be okay with it. But yeah, that was that's a long-winded way of saying I was first exposed to Predator. That's a bad choice of words. I first watched Predator.
Get Chris Hansen on here right away.
Yeah. Have a seat. Like as a 10-year-old watching the VHS over and over and over again.
Man, cool, man. I feel like The Thing is, like, when it comes to like body horror or horror itself, I think The Thing is a decent entrance for a younger audience member to get invested in that field. I don't think it's not like an evil gore. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like that to me.
I think that's because it's more focused on the paranoia aspect. It's not just gore for the sake of gore, like something like Terrifier, which I haven't seen, but I've watched a couple of scenes from it, and that is just, let's do something disgusting for 2 hours.
And that was enough for you to not watch this.
Yeah, I just don't really have any interest. I'll watch something like Saw because at least Saw has a plot. It might be bad, but the first one isn't bad, but at least it's trying to do something. Whereas the vibe I get from the Terrifier movies is let's just muck around with cutting people up. And if I'm wrong, then maybe I need to go and watch those movies. But yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just thought I'd say as well. My first introduction to Predator is similar to yours, Jimmy, but it's the opposite in some ways. Because VHS still, because I'm 33 at the moment, and I think I first watched it when I was maybe about 12. But my parents were kind of the opposite of you. They were very strict on what I was allowed to watch. So I had to watch, or I think I recorded it on VHS over Christmas because they had loads of films on late at night, and one of them was Predator. I was like, oh, I've heard that's good. I think I had actually seen Alien versus Predator by that point because I would have been 12 when that came out. So I was like, let's record this. I may be mistaken. I definitely saw AVP before I saw Alien. It might have been the other way around.
That hurts my heart. That hurts my heart.
Yeah. But yeah, so I recorded it, and it turned out that the version I'd recorded, I didn't know this at the time, was a very slightly censored TV edit. So it didn't have the shot with the skinned bodies. It didn't have a couple of F words. It had some bits missing. Still, even so, like when I was watching it, I think my dad walked into the room when the Predator rips a guy's spine out of his back, and was like, "This is a bit graphic." And I was like, "That's cool. It's the Predator." But yeah, I loved it then, and I mean, I still love it now. It's a really, really solid movie.
That's cool, man.
I had a similar experience with this movie. I think I did see it on TV on a channel called FX way back in the early 2000s. And definitely don't remember seeing the 3 strung up bodies that were skinned. I don't remember when I eventually saw the full theatrical cut, the not TV version. But that moment is quite graphic, isn't it? You get to see intestines on the jungle floor right below those bodies, and the movie's not pulling any punches in that moment. However, it does in other instances when some characters you don't even see die. They go off screen, which is frustrating in one instance for me.
Oh yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to the deaths. Well, cool to hear, guys. Well, Luke, what did you think? Because this was your very first time watching the movie.
Yeah, I watched this movie for the first time 2 hours ago, so it's very fresh.
Oh, this is gonna be good, dude.
But, no, cast is everything. As soon as I saw Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger on the screen, I knew it was gonna be good. Those are 2 great late 80s actors, and he's fresh out of Rocky, so he still has it. Right off the bat, it's so anticipating because they're in the woods and you see the skinned bodies, and it's very eerie, like you said, Kyle. It's very graphic. They did not.
Jimmy's stripping.
Ooh. Where are my ones?
Nadia is having a fit right now.
It's getting to that time, guys. Throw your singles through the screen.
But it was a very pleasing movie to me when it comes to horror and a thriller. A lot of questions I have, which I'll get into that throughout the stream. But yeah, it's one of
something like we're talking about it being a horror movie, right? And I think it definitely is. It didn't scare me the second time I watched it. I barely remembered my first time seeing it because I think it was like one of my takeaways was I think this is, compared to Alien, this is a much better casual viewing film. Like I feel like I could have Predator on in the background while doing stuff, and I'll have a better time doing that than if I had Alien on. I think those are very different tones overall, really. But, there's some similar subject matter. We'll talk about that a little later. But something that makes this stick out quite a bit, which kind of takes away from the horror aspect of it, but also sort of plays into it, is the setting, right? Because the whole movie, we're stuck in the middle of a Central American jungle. So I'm kind of wondering what you thought about this setting. Like, How do you think it played into like the intimidation factor and the intensity? Because I feel like it's one of those silent elements of the film that makes it just that much more gripping. And I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is that does that.
I actually have an idea. It's actually kind of an add-on. It's super simple. You're not bouncing back and forth to different scenes necessarily. You're just in the moment, and that's what I enjoy about it.
It's a very streamlined narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no intercutting with B storylines, yada yada. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, like imagine that's a good point actually. Yeah, because imagine you've got the little bit of intrigue where Dylan Carl Weathers is kind of he knows more than he's letting on, and you could very easily have had like a B plot where his guy on the phone is doing computery shit and leading them into a trap. You could have had all of that, and then maybe revealed it with a twist. It would have been a complete waste of time. As far as the jungle goes, it's a bit of a weird and unique setting for a. It's not really a horror movie, but for those horror elements that are there. And it does what it needs to do for a horror setting, because you have the isolation angle, but then isolation on its own isn't necessarily horror, because you could say the same about like Vietnam War movies, which this has similarities with. Like, okay, the soldiers are stuck in a nasty, no one would call Platoon a horror movie, even though there are parts of it that are horrific and you have people stuck in a very bad situation. I think what makes it lean into horror is just how outmatched these guys are, which I think is one of the, I don't think it would be a stretch to call it a genius part of the movie, because, the first half hour is just leaning into this sort of cheesy 80s action, similar to like Commando, that, other movies like that of the era. They're just, there's one-liners, they're essentially invincible superheroes who look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They go in and they rescue the hostages by blowing everything up. And then after the 30-minute mark, they realize, oh, wait, okay, there's something out here that is bigger and scarier than us. And the reaction, the characters react accordingly, which is that plus the setting, I think, is what leans into it being horror. The difference, I guess, between this and something like Alien is that it's much easier to relate kind of personally to the characters in Alien. Because, okay, you've got a pilot, a navigator, and an engineer. The truckers in space. Whereas here, it's essentially SEAL Team 6 versus a space alien. It's slightly less relatable,
SEAL Team
but
6 on steroids is on top of that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, you made a lot of good points there. I think it's interesting to first off, I love whoever said the B story. It's just one story that you follow. That's so nice. I can't remember the last time I saw that. Even in an older film that we've been watching every Tuesday. I think that's what makes it a better casual viewing, is you can, you're not hopping all over the place.
Yeah, but they could have done that. See, this is the thing. You have a team of paramilitary men. They could have done the split up bullshit thing, and they don't do that. They don't do the horror movie trope that causes these characters to look really fucking stupid.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, they didn't like split up. Well, they kind of did a little bit.
They do, just but it's very, very brief towards the end, and it's for a decent reason. It's definitely not a case of, oh, hey, gang, let's split up kind of thing.
Yeah, it's self-sacrificial moment in the film, essentially. Yeah,
it's understandable. I also liked, Red, that you're talking about how, the first 30 minutes, you're kind of led to believe this is going to be just some big, bombastic, vibrant, superhero film almost, with these outstanding giants, that are just blowing away all the enemies. They're totally in control of their environment. And yeah, that shit hits the fan quick once the Predator actually reveals itself. I didn't really think of it that way. Yeah, it's presented as like a totally different movie the first 30 minutes. All these guys are super confident. They have a lot of camaraderie, and of course we'll get to it, but once that revelation is made about Carl Weathers' character, it really just that further breaks apart the camaraderie. And I didn't even think about that. It was like totally different right off the bat where we were going to go with this. And
that's why I would want to ask you, like, the opening shot, I personally feel like that shouldn't be in the movie. Because
yes,
yeah,
feels like Alien.
Yep.
Yeah, because all it does is it tells the audience. Obviously, that in the culture that we live, it's Predator, therefore it's about an alien because we know what the Predator is, that kind of thing. But if you go into the cinema in 1987, and whenever I watch a movie, I try and just treat it as though I know nothing about it, because that's what the film was made for, and that's why I really don't like it when movies get extended editions and they add in scenes that assume that you have already seen the movie, because that to me is weird. But yeah, all that opening scene does is it tells the audience that there is a sci-fi component to this movie. Whereas if you don't have that, then that doesn't become clear until like 45 minutes into the movie, when you first, basically the minigun scene. That's the first time that you see the Predator properly.
Yeah. It's interesting as well. I'm almost positive on the DVD commentary, the director John McTiernan, he actually does touch on that about the opening scene and whether or not they should include it or not. I can't remember the specifics, but he does touch on that on the DVD commentary about the debate of whether to show the fact that yes, this is clearly an alien, here's the spaceship, or not.
It's funny. You guys are talking about the intro, and I watched this on Disney Plus. I don't remember seeing that. Did you see that, Luke? Do you know what they're talking about? Or maybe I just glanced past it.
Because I watched it on Prime. I watched half of it on Prime and the other half on Disney Plus.
Do you remember seeing the spaceship in the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I must have.
It was on.
I was literally about to check Disney Plus on my phone in case they'd cut it out.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe they did what you guys said and they cut out the scene.
Specifically, what happens is you've got like the title cards appear and it's looking at stars, as in like space, and then it pans down almost like it's Star Wars, and you see a little drop pod fly into Earth. Then it cuts to the shot of the helicopter arriving with Arnold Schwarzenegger inside. So you could just start the movie there, which is kind of annoying, but
well, that is annoying. Well, yeah, they didn't need to do that.
There's one way they could have opened it where it kind of gives a implication of sci-fi, where it's just the opening shot is a still jungle at night. You see the moonlight, shining over the trees, etc. Then all of a sudden the ship comes down and crashes or lands, however it does, right? Because there is that ambiguity in this film. Where is his ship? We don't know. So that could have been just one shot, and then you cut to Arnold and the gang get on their helicopter. So that's one way they could have done it, coming out down the atmosphere out into orbit, essentially.
I've literally just double checked on my phone. Definitely, yes, the shot of the spaceship is in the Disney Plus version.
Okay, good.
Oh, we're gonna get a copyright now. Shit.
Nice. All right. Well, real quick, let's say hi to the chat. Thank you all for joining us today. Everybody's talking a lot, so I want to say hi to everybody before we move on. Megan the Texan, so stoked. Good to see you, Megan. Thanks for joining us. Cass is here too. Finally, good to have you back. Just watched it with Luke. Good for you. Nadia's here too. Good to see you, Nadia. Sin is here. Hey, Sin. Hello. Predator is such a fantastic movie. One of my Arnold favorites. Nice. Yeah, definitely. He's so much fun on this.
There's a bit of a mini debate in the chat I've noticed about whether or not Predator is a horror movie, to go back to what you touched on there. And that's interesting that you said that. I wouldn't have immediately said it was a horror movie. I always think of it as an action movie, but everyone in the chat is making pretty good points that it kind of is at least an action / horror. But it's interesting that you brought it up, and I think everyone, unless I've read the room wrong, I think most of you guys would agree that it is a horror movie. But like I've always just thought of it as an 80s Arnold action movie.
I guess it kind of shifts all over the place.
It's kind of a genre mash in that sense, because you've got the opening 30 minutes is absolutely a straight up action, but then after that it does lean into horror. But essentially, like as I said before, I think that it is still like so firmly grounded in action with horror elements, whereas something like Aliens, for example, leans much harder into horror than Predator does. But yeah, I think it's probably fair to say that there's horror elements, but yeah, one word, it is an action movie.
Yeah, definitely primarily action.
Yeah, I would lean more towards horror, to be honest, because of its structure.
Agreed.
You have basically a slasher killer that is the Predator, and he is hunting down this group of people, which you could interchange them with a troop of teenagers, you know, and you have a final girl, i.e., Arnold Schwarzenegger, at the very end.
Wow, the most unlikely final girl of all
Exactly.
final girls.
I like how you say that, and that's true.
That's a very good point. I think if it wasn't Arnie in the lead, yeah, I would probably think, of course, it's a horror movie. But because it's Arnie in the lead, and because he can physically trade punches with the Predator, you know, you think of it more of an action movie. But yeah, if that's a bunch of teenagers dropped in the jungle, it's clearly a slasher horror movie.
Well, I'm thinking like, you know, I think the horror elements really show in the center part of it. You know, the very beginning, like the first 30 minutes is really action until the Predator has his first kill with whichever, I think it might have been the minigun guy that died first. Yeah, but for I feel like the first 30 minutes it was action, and then once we saw who the Predator was, especially when we got to, you know, the ending segment where Arnold is on his own and he's you know, becoming the Predator himself, I didn't consider that horror. I thought it went action, horror, action. But you know, I guess that could be kind of put up to
no. That's I would actually agree with that. Action, horror, action. So that it's, you know, sort of 2-to-1 ratioed in favor of action.
Yeah, there we go. Boom. Oh, real quick, Gord King's back. He's back in the chat. Been a long time. Good to see you. Now known as Papa Pumpkin. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And real quick, Papa Pumpkin, he says, I wouldn't start with a thing for a young person. You'd be showing them the best horror film far too early. Nowhere to go but down. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I know that's said as a joke, but that's genuinely a thought that I had.
Oh, Gen X Man says something too. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. Anyone remember that from SNL? Oh,
we don't really get SNL here in the UK.
You're not missing out. It's bad.
Well, these days.
Yeah.
I think Gen X Men is referring to something that was when SNL was actually good.
Then
but you know, I agree with the overall sentiment as a Scotsman. You know,
nice, good. Let's see. Sly Jester's back. What the fuck? It's not 10 o'clock. I know, it's 6 p.m. man. 6 p.m. We're starting early. The Rad Dad Realtor. Nothing but love for the first Predator movie. Hell yeah, man. Nothing but love. Big Dog Jake's here as well. Good to see you, man. Like the stream, nerds. Shout out to the homie Bob. Yeah, if you guys are here and you're enjoying what we have to say so far, we'd appreciate it if you gave us a thumbs up and check out everybody's channels here. Links in the description below. Really appreciate all your support for these guys. Pleasure having them on. Next up, you know, we keep talking about the I don't want to get into this too much because we've already sort of brought it up, but I have some questions about the skinning scene, of course. And I don't have a picture of that, so I'm just going to show the Predator here. But this, you know,
sexy.
That's like, yeah, I know, right?
The fishnets, all that stuff.
He's a sex symbol.
You know, he's into
80s.
bondage.
Yeah, gosh, I said skinning, not sexy. But I was kind of wondering, you know, with of course, it's a horrifying image, right? With these poor men being skinned. I think that's like, gore doesn't really faze me, but that stuck out to me. I was eating something and I just stopped immediately. It totally took the breath out of my body. Really seeing that there's something so strange, and I think it looks great. And there's something about it being like so clearly visible, like they're not trying to hide it at all. It's right there. It looks good. It looks real. And I think that definitely kind of scares everybody straight. They sort of realize, you know, what's at stake here. And of course they pin this revelation on the guerrilla warfare fighters. They think that they did it, but clearly it wasn't. So I'm kind of wondering what you think the purpose of this was, because, you know, Predator, obviously, you know, they mention it a few times throughout the movie. It's revealed that the Predator's kills people out of sport, right? I'm not too familiar with the Predator films. I've only seen this one. I'm kind of reluctant to follow any more further because I heard they go kind of downhill like the Alien movies. So I'm not entirely sure. But like, why do you think the Predator did this? Because, you know, I think about like a hunter, a big game hunter. They want to carve up a tiger and make a pelt out of it, make a rug out of the tiger they just killed. It's sort of like, you know, a prize piece, right? But that doesn't seem to happen here. We don't see the Predator you know, carry the skin around at all. There isn't any sort of reason to have it. I mean, we see him, you know, in this movie fashioned with a couple skulls, but that's about it.
Right.
So I kind of wonder, why do you think he's like this? Is there a purpose that I'm missing that maybe we figure out in other movies?
Honestly, think it's. Or you go first.
I was just going to say, like, that's on the one hand, we could, if you watch more of the movies, you'll get more of the Predator lore. So I kind of don't want to spoil the other movies in case you do.
You can spoil it. It's fine.
But yeah, it's the hunter lore and the trophy hunting culture is touched on and expanded slightly as in each movie, more or less, as it goes on. So if you're asking why he's got the skulls and why he does what he does, that's their culture. That's what the Yautja that's what they do. So that's that. Him wearing the skulls is like, I don't know, like I don't know if you remember the Van Damme Dolph Lundgren movie Universal Soldier. That's like when Dolph wears the necklace of earrings. It's trophies off his kills. It's like it's a big game hunter here having like a lion's head mount that he shot mounted, in his cabin. That's what they do. That's what their whole culture is predicated on. It's touched on pretty much in every movie. I kind of feel like you should watch Predator 2, if for no other reason, when you see the trophy room on the ship. I'm not going to spoil that, because if you haven't had that spoiled for you already, watch it, because that's a treat. That's a treat. But somebody mentioned in the chat as well, you're talking about the Predator design. I take it, do we all know about like the original design and who was originally in the suit?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, is that right?
It's a very funny story, that.
Yeah, it was just because someone mentioned it in the chat, and because some of you guys here, I think, you've only just seen the movie and you're not familiar with the movies that too much. I was like, hang on a minute, do you guys not know this story?
So Luke, you don't know?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Can I?
Yes.
Tell the story. I want to hear the story.
Yeah. Okay, Jimmy.
The original design for the Predator. In fact, so the original design for the Predator was this.
Hold on.
That is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, let me see if I
in
can
a
make it bigger.
lobster-esque suit. So there's various versions of this story that's been told. I don't think I've ever heard Van Damme talk about it in detail, but the director talks about it on the commentary, and Jesse Ventura actually in a recent interview on YouTube has talked about it in some detail. The general gist of it is Van Damme. This is before he's famous at all. I think it's before Kickboxer and Bloodsport, or maybe before one of them had came out. He booked the job thinking that his face would be seen and he would be going toe to toe with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He gets there and realizes he's going to be wearing this suit, doesn't like it, complains, and is essentially fired. That's one version of the story that I've heard and that I've read online. The other version as well is that and this is what the director says on one of the documentaries on the DVD. The actual, regardless of the Van Damme element of the story, which itself is worthy of a documentary, the actual design of the Predator suit just looked crap. It looked absolutely terrible. So he showed that to the studio and said, okay, do you really want me to finish the movie with this design, or should we shut down for a few weeks and come up with something better? That's what they did. Stan Winston was brought on because he's got a relationship with Arnie from the Terminator, and then Stan Winston created the design that we know of. But yeah, so there's two elements to this story. The first one is that's Jean-Claude Van Damme in that suit. The second element is the suit looked crap, so they shut down for a while, and Stan Winston came on and designed the iconic Predator suit.
Wow, man!
Yeah, the brilliant, he's a genius, Stan Winston. The many movies that he's worked on, and he created on his own, just from a picture of a Rastafarian, some inspiration that he gleaned from, but he created this creature, and it's become a pop culture iconic monster.
Yeah. I think it's got a better vibe than the Alien, the Xenomorph. I'm more drawn to this one. It's like it's straight from your nightmares. There's something so iconic about it. And that's like,
grotesque.
I wonder, we might as well talk about this right now before we get into the next chapter of the story. Why do you think Predator has remained culturally relevant to this point? Do you think, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things. I don't think it comes down to the story very much. I think it's mostly the character and also like the meme lines. I think that actually helps in this situation. I don't think that usually makes much of a difference, but I think for younger people, that's how a lot of us know the movie and probably fancy ourselves like trying it out. That was one of the reasons why I watched it for the first time, was for a lot of those quotable lines.
It's just one of those iconic characters. You got Alien, you got Predator, you got Terminator, you got
RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop's all the slasher characters. I mean, just one of those iconic unique characters that created a huge franchise.
Yeah, I mean, just that image alone, like you said, guys, it's not so much the story. Yes, the first movie is a banger of a movie, a top 10 of all time, but other than that, the franchise has been up and down, and mostly down. But that image, like that, just that iconic image and that design, I think that's what keeps it alive. Plus the fact that 20th Century Fox, now Disney, they want to keep making money from their existing IP. That's a huge element to it as well. But just if fans didn't like that iconic design, there wouldn't be as much of a demand for it. So I think it's a combination of the first movie being bloody phenomenal and the general design being iconic.
Hey, Jimmy, be careful. You keep saying iconic. Sly Jester, stop saying iconic. You're giving
partially
me
my fault,
flashbacks to Ironheart.
Well, I just said iconic as well, so you might want to point
Kyle,
the finger at me as well. Yeah. No, this design and the special effects are timeless in that they actually hold up more so than what people are committing to film and movies today.
Yep.
This is watching the third act play out and the reveal of the animatronic on the actual actor performer's body, his face. It's extremely impressive, and it brings to mind the special effects that Lord of the Rings did. I mean, it's just, for this to have happened in the mid 80s is amazing. This is
so early on.
And it's Stan Winston. He revolutionized the industry multiple times with Aliens with the Queen, this, and Jurassic Park, and Terminator 2 with oh my gosh. The guy has like so many things, and that's just those are the top things that he did. There are plenty of other stuff that he did that I'm not thinking of in his credits that are in the same level. Just they're not in movies that are as iconic.
Sure,
I said it again.
This is the best that the Predator design has ever looked. It's appeared in multiple movies since then, and like if you just want a comparison, look at it in AVP, and it's similar, but it looks like it's made out of plastic. It's not like organic enough. It's a similar complaint that one of innumerable complaints that I have with Alien Earth is that the design of the creature itself, it's not gooey. It looks dry. It's like it's made out of latex. And like that really matters if you're trying, because that kind of thing is actually pretty difficult to sort out in CG. If you're using practical effects, which they do in AVP and in Alien Earth, you're trying to replicate something that was originally done with practical effects, but then you're missing one key component. And I mean, this is more of a thing with Alien, I guess, than Predator, but like how you light it is so important. With Predator, it's less flashy, literally flashy, because you've got the strobe lights in Alien. But yeah, just the organic texture that it has. It looks like there is ambient occlusion. Am I drawing that out of my ass? Like in video games, that's a slider that you have that affects how light reflects off the skin, I think.
Well, yeah, there's a great image of that.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the... Yeah.
I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but just say it with confidence and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that ambient occlusion is something. Whether it's what I am talking about, I have no idea. One other bit of trivia, I guess, that I'll mention is that the reason why the Predator has mandibles, which are like one of the most iconic parts of his design, is actually because of James Cameron. Because he was having a chat with Stan Winston, and he was like, "I like mandibles. Shame we don't see more of them. Design.
Yeah. I mean, that's the defining attribute of the Predator, right? Is the mandibles.
Yeah.
The mandibles
James Cameron was great.
Equals Predator. Yeah.
I'm starting to like him more, Kyle. Are you happy? I'm starting to like him more. Quick, I want to get to a super chat.
His past self.
Yeah, old James Cameron, not new James Cameron. That was something that also scared me, Jimmy, about your review of the new Predator. Is you kind of compared it to Avatar, and I'm like, oh no, please.
Yeah, so I actually like Avatar. But I know that comparison will not go down well with some people, and those will be the same people who probably don't like this movie.
Oh,
not to touch too much on Badlands, but yeah, it was more a kind of comment on the tone of Badlands compared to the tone of the original Predator. Very different tone, more akin to Avatar, more akin to Mandalorian than the OG Predator.
Okay, yeah, that's sad. Modernizing it, right? Horror with Nads, $5. Thanks, Nads. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. If you can find them, buy the comics box office. 10 out of 10 and better expansion on the lore. I have Predator, the original years omnibus, volume 1.
Nice.
That sounds cool. I'm down.
I read them back in the day.
I'm down. I'm not that big of a comic reader, graphic novel reader. The only comics I ever read were old Star Wars comics, Dark Horse. They were my favorite. I did not care for the Marvel Star Wars comics at all, which is so weird that for whatever reason, Marvel Star Wars comics. But yeah, Predator, I would be interested. I would be more interested in reading into Predator a little more than Alien, even though I like Aliens way more than I like this movie. And Alien, the first one as well. But thank you, Nadia. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nadia didn't like the Avatar endorsement.
Oh, she's not happy. Unsub. Oh no, Jimmy. No, you were really charming the audience for a moment.
I like what I like.
That's good. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't be ashamed of that. Let's get into one of the big revelations of the story here. So, yes, Arnold. Cue Arnold's entrance. So
look at those arms.
After Arnold and the team, they discovered those skinned bodies. They were freaking out. They saw a guerrilla camp not very far over, and they're like, they want to get some revenge on them. And they believe that maybe this camp is the camp that's holding those hostages that they were concerned about. Arnold and his team, they were led to believe that this was like a rescue mission for I don't know, some important people somehow got stranded here from like a ship crashing. And so that was they weren't really that interested in going on this rescue mission. I think they were more the truth of the matter may have been more interesting to them, because we learn here, this is not, there are no hostages at this camp that they are going to save. There's important intel. And it turns out that this whole time, Dutch, or Dylan, Carl Weathers' character, he's been withholding the truth that the mission is a hoax. It's BS. There are no high-value hostages that need saving, and the whole mission was designed to retrieve and destroy sensitive military intelligence. And the worst part yet is that this team was pretty expendable. And what's particularly perplexing about this whole segment here, where we learn that Carl Weathers is a backstabbing liar, is that he considered Arnold and his whole team to be expendable, that it didn't matter if they didn't make it out of here alive. And that is such a huge character shift for him, because, everything's hunky-dory, confidence, guys being guys, having fun with each other, camaraderie, right? And when you learn this, it's like, how can you trust this guy at all at this point? So I'm kind of wondering, I have two questions pertaining to this subject here in this scene. The first being, this is pretty disappointing about Dylan's character, because, we all love Carl Weathers. I think a lot of people probably had pretty high expectations for this character right off the bat. I mean, you have the iconic scene, the entrance scene where Arnold and him reunite, and they're kind of like, they're arm wrestling a little bit. So why do you think Carl Weathers' character turned out to be this way? Do you think that his like all the charisma he had leading up to this, the goodwill, do you think it was all an act? Did you think he had sinister motives with this? because this was, I think what really stuck out to me was how Carl Weathers revealed that they were literally expendable assets. I mean, that is a terrible thing to tell to somebody, especially someone that you've had, positive experience with before. They were friends. What happened to these guys?
I think that's something that the film doesn't get, because if you just look at the film at a glance, it kind of appears to just be a big dumb action movie. And something that it deserves credit for is that it implies a backstory between certain characters, and specifically Dylan and Dutch. So we've got like an implication that maybe Dylan used to be more like Dutch. And that now he's more of a literally, we get the line, there's the CIA got you pushing too many pencils. Like, he's no longer out in the field. He's no longer doing missions like this. So his perspective has now changed from where it used to be. As far as him considering them to be expendable, I would assume that that's not uncommon for people in his role. The question as to whether you would actually tell the person that, because, he was kind of viewing it as like, I'm the only one who's willing to just admit the truth, which is that we're all expendable, even me. We've just got to get the job done, right? He's not saying that I don't care if you die. He's saying we're soldiers and soldiers die.
Yeah.
Which isn't quite the same.
Yeah, so let's remember that Arnie was the one who said that. We're expendable. So he was the one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was Carl.
Yeah, Dylan didn't say that, no.
Well, he says we're expendable, and then Dylan agrees. But,
well, he agrees in the way of what you just said. So you said it in a way that made sense.
Right. I think the answer to your question as well, Box Office, is it's kind of answered in a line of in a couple of lines of dialogue, and I don't know off by heart. I probably used to, but I'm sure. So Arnie says, or Dutch says, what happened to you, Dylan? You used to be someone I could trust. And Dylan says, I woke up. Why don't you? I think that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, that's another one of those iconic lines.
Yeah. Because what Random was saying, they're expendable soldiers. Yes, they were sent on a mission under false pretenses. The mission is still a mission. They're soldiers,
I guess I didn't get the sense, rewatching it, maybe it just slipped me that that Dylan wasn't considering himself, or I thought that he was considering them lesser than him. But the way Random made it sound was that they're all in the shit and they're all screwed, including him. I guess it didn't rub off that way when I saw it.
I mean, I think probably technically Dylan outranks them. Because he's it's his mission. He's leading the mission. He's in the CIA now. So I mean, I don't know. He probably doesn't outrank them because they're special ops and he's in the CIA. But it's his mission. They're there working for him. So I think he views them as expendable, but that doesn't mean that he's not like friends with them. I think again in that heightened, hyper real soldier life of the movie, special ops Delta Force style romanticized version of that life in the movie. I think that's just the way it is. If you are expendable,
as disappointing it was for me to see, for everyone to see this duo like break up before our eyes, as we saw. I think part of the problem is that there were two essential leaders that bumped heads. They're both huge and strong-minded, and they both wanted the lead role of or giving orders and whatnot, and also being put in a life or death situation. You kind of all for yourself, it could be. So that's my
I think if we go back to his character, because this is like an eye-opening sequence, right, where like I said, it was, we had high expectations for him. We thought he'd be cool. He'd be one of the guys. And I think this was such a low blow for everybody. Everybody starts scoffing at him because they know that he's not really one of them. And I don't think they really treat him like he was one of them because he's not literally part of their squad. So that's already there. But this definitely dampened it further. But, I think if we think about a test of his character for the remainder of the movie, he doesn't shy away from action. He tries to help. And, there's a scene where he elects to put himself in danger to, I can't remember the exact sequence, but later on in the movie, I think he's going to maybe rescue somebody or another one of the soldiers is off on their own and he's joining them. And it's kind of that's going to be the end of their story. So that's respectable. That's when I sort of realized that he wasn't like, there wasn't like a superiority complex that he had, you know, and he was trying to do the right thing, but he just didn't, you know, it wasn't the best situation.
With him, it's like until that scene, he's the most skeptical out of all of them, because he is convinced that the creature is multiple enemies. It's like 2 or 3, maybe 4 highly trained operatives who are just fucking with them.
Yeah, gorillas.
Which is kind of like the rational justification for that, because he hasn't actually seen this thing, whereas Mac by that point has. And at least 2 of them have been killed by that point. And then it's only after he sees it that's when he completely changes his mind, and he realizes that he was wrong. And that's when he starts properly helping.
Huh. Interesting.
For the audience that may have misunderstood what I meant, gorillas meaning soldier gorillas.
I know. We keep saying gorillas, not actual gorillas.
That's a different movie. Okay.
Yeah. It's still blowing my mind that it still blows my mind that a couple of you guys are talking about this, having only seen it for the first time recently. So like all these, like hearing your thoughts and opinions and your take on the characters because you've just seen it. That's like, it's almost like it's like an unrecognizable concept to me, because I literally grew up with this movie. Like you first seen this movie 2 hours ago. Like I first saw it 35 years ago.
So you're definitely not Gen Z.
Definitely not Gen Z. No.
Nice, that's cool. Real quick, Sly Jester, thanks for the.
Wait, box office. Can I read that?
Yeah,
in Jesse Ventura's voice.
Do it.
Like, share, and subscribe, or else you'll never become a sexual tyrannosaurus like this Florida man.
Nice.
Who are you?
Nice.
Who was that?
That was Jim Carrey.
Oh, nice. Where did that come from? You are tripping balls. No, I'm glad. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Sly. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess another question I had about this sequence too was, you know, we were led to believe that this was this was a rescue mission, right? But then it turns out they were there receiving intel. Now, I think I was doing some reading, and it suggested that this intel was not based on the Predator at all, that it was about the guerrillas, and like, I don't know, maybe their base camp positioning, whatever else about their army. I'm wondering if you guys have any sort of skepticism that maybe someone was doing a little digging and studying into the Predator that lurked in the woods, because I imagine this thing has been there for a long time, because the girl, she's had a lot of experience with it. And she's seen this thing around. She hasn't like seen it like in its physicality, but I think she's known that something's been lurking in the jungle causing trouble. Yeah. I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
She has. So the answer to your question is in Predator 2.
Oh, really?
Okay. Well, I didn't see Predator 2 in its totality. I think it was one of those FX on TV things that I just saw spots of.
Yeah,
I've only seen Predator 2 once.
Right.
So there's in Predator 2 towards the end, there's a scene, again, I'm assuming we're okay with spoiling shit, guys, yeah?
Yeah, yes.
So Predator 2 towards the end, there's a scene with Gary Busey, who is like the main government shadow agency guy in Predator 2. Like Danny Glover is the lead. He's just a regular LA cop who, you know, ends up facing off against Predator. But towards the end, Gary Busey's like shadowy, you know, CIA type figure, and his team, they're there to catch the Predator, not in a Chris Hansen way, in a, you know, in a Predator movie way. And there's a couple of lines of dialogue where he does talk about they've been tracking these aliens, these predators, as they come to Earth on safari, pretty much, and they do flash up stills of some of the cast with some of the characters from Predator 1 on their screen, like in their kind of like CIA type, you know, shadow agency van. So that pretty much, I think that kind of covers what you're talking about there. So yeah, so the government, as it were, is aware and have been tracking and trying to capture these predators.
Wow.
Predator 2 is worth a watch. It's worth a watch.
I've heard good things about that one. I think farther than that, I've only heard it just gets worse and worse.
I personally do not like Predator 2, but I've only seen it once, and it was a very long time ago, so I can't really tell you why. But
okay,
I mean, if you guys do a Predator 2, then I mean,
yes, random, you know it, man. I want you to do that one.
I think Predator 2 is probably still the second best Predator movie of the franchise. Whether that's a damning indictment of the rest of the movies or not, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe my recollection is wrong, but I seem to recall that Predators, Robert Rodriguez's movie, it has. I'm remembering it being good, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time. I saw it in the theaters, and that was it.
It's enjoyable.
It's not terrible, but it's definitely not as good as Predator 2 in my opinion. Like Predator 2 was the last Predator movie that was proper 18 or rated R. Everyone since then I'm sure has been like, a PG-13, or a 15, at least here in the UK.
Wow, imagine that, a PG Predator.
Well,
yeah, Predator 2 is proper, like, even I think it's probably even more gory than Predator 1 when it comes to like the Predator doing his trophy killing shenanigans.
Thing is, like, because this is more of a thing with like the way that the BBFC work, which is the UK's version of the MPAA, is they gradually get sort of through the decades got much more relaxed on violence, but then they remained very strict on like sex and sexual violence and that kind of thing. So the Predator, the one that was directed by Shane Black, who plays Hawkins in this movie, The Predator is a terrible movie. I am not complimenting it at all. But it's a gory movie. It is very violent, and you see the Predator like tearing people apart like repeatedly. That movie's a 15. And
wow.
Yeah, but you are correct, Jimmy. Like every other movie that came out after Predator 2 is either a... No, hold on a minute. I'm getting my wires crossed because Alien versus Predator is a PG-13,
right,
but it's a 15. It's a 15 in the UK.
So the DVD was a 15, but it was a 12A in the cinema.
Ah, okay.
What the heck?
Yeah, they do this.
I remember
seeing it in the cinema. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, like a 15. That means like 15-year-olds and under, or 15 and up watch it.
Yeah,
like,
so I think I think our version of a 15 is actually your version of a rated R, whereas our 18 is your version of a NC-17, I think.
Oh crap!
In terms of the legality of whether you can watch it, yes, but in terms of the strictness of the content, no. Because like if a film in the US gets an NC-17, that is like an adult movie with a capital A. Whereas 18 rated movies in the UK they're common. So it's almost like the R rating is a 15 and an 18 to kind of split into two.
Yeah.
And then you have NC-17 would be for like really like explicit stuff.
Crap. Dang. All right. Good to know. So, all right.
You're not allowed to go into those movies.
Literally, Kyle. I'm thinking, do not check out the 18s. Oh, gosh. That's funny. Real quick, let's say hi to everybody. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hey, y'all. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Corey.
Always a pleasure having you on. Oh, and Vex is on, too. Good to see you, Vex. Thanks for stopping in. Predator 2 is a lot more graphic, plus boobs.
Yep.
There are boobs.
There is boobs.
Yep.
That is something Predator is missing, actually. I hadn't considered that.
You mean like a female Predator showing boobs, or you mean...
Oh no, I hadn't considered because of how awesome Predator the first one is. I hadn't considered. Damn, it's actually missing something, and that thing is boobs.
I mean,
they had a female character to
plenty of sweaty man
opportunity for that.
Predator.
The last time we saw boobs where we did not want to see boobs was 28 years later. Birthing scene.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
That's scarring. Yeah, no thanks. Oh gosh. Here, let's move on to the next part of this though, because we're just getting started here. We got a lot to talk about. Right after this, like I said, Carl Weathers, he is no longer the man. Everybody's pretty upset. And this is when, it starts to heat up. Predator finally comes into the picture. We've been talking about it all day. The first 30 minutes is just action. Now we're about to get into the horror segment of the film. And these guys are pretty much just ready to extract. They got a decent walk before they extract, though. They're trying to get out of the jungle. And while this is happening, their guys just get cut down one by one. And, Mac, we mentioned Mac briefly a few times. He's like the chill guy. He's like the chill, deadpan, super soldier, really. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything could screw him up. and his friend Blaine, who unfortunately just really has no character at all in this movie. I refer to him as the minigun guy. I don't hear his name a single time in the movie. He doesn't really have any standout moments. He's the big guy who's got a minigun. I'm sorry. Correct me.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Okay, all right.
Shane Roan at the governor of Minnesota.
Okay, all right. The bleed one, I remember that one. You got me wrong. The other one,
the sexual Tyrannosaurus line is also him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of those.
Okay, gosh. All right, forget it. I'm done. I'm out of here.
I mean, his character is vaguely homophobic as well, so there is problems there.
Well, like I think like with Aliens, I think I'm now conditioned to where each one of those characters just stood out to me right from the bat. And we just talked about Aliens, and here we are. And I think maybe it'd take a few more watches to center down on these guys, because like for me, like quite a few of these guys were just cannon fodder. And that is one question I have for you guys later, is about characters and the cast, because for me watching it, practically first time, I think that was the biggest problem. But it sounds like you guys know these guys pretty well, so that's going to be interesting.
Well,
but here.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, you're good. We'll get to that. But here we are. Like I said, a lot of the guys are dying off right off the bat. And poor Mac, he's real solid, like I said, and this kind of breaks him. And we see him kind of descend from being this rock into a troubled man. And it's a real shame seeing that, because I think he was one of the few soldiers you could kind of trust to be solid. And it's not like he does anything bad exactly, but what happens when Blaine gets, I don't exactly remember how he dies, but it's pretty graphic the way he does. I don't think he he does blow up. It's like his chest blows out, like he gets shot in the back and his chest gets blown out. It's very gross and graphic. And the way that all these guys retaliate is they light up the forest. I mean, they light it up hard. All their rounds just blazing the forest. And it barely dings the Predator in this scene. And like, this was like one of those moments where this seems like the most 80s action star movie moment ever, where you have a bunch of big guys just firing as many rounds into the forest as they want. And it just seemed like, to me, this was the dumbest scene in the whole movie. And I understand that they were panicked and that this was, a desperate attempt to cut down this invisible foe that they are intimidated by and that they haven't sensed before. But did you guys think that this was dumb? Like, this was like one of those standout moments where it's like, okay, we didn't need to do this. Couldn't we be more responsible?
It's dumb, but it's awesome.
Gotta do what we gotta do.
Well, it is awesome. It's a case of like, if you go at it step by step. So Mac sees this thing and he is properly freaked out.
Which is rare. It's the only time it happens in the movie, which it makes it mean more.
Yeah, so then everyone else shows up and they just kind of go off vibes. They're like, oh, okay, well, if Mac's doing this, then there was probably something. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to kill the Predator or an alien or whatever. It could be a bunch of guys like them who have just killed Blaine. Like, that's probably what they think they're shooting at. As far as the movie kind of plays fast and loose with the idea of ammunition. You just kind of have to put that out of your mind, because otherwise, yes, why are you wasting that much ammo?
Yeah.
But then you can't really ask that question if, because you have to, it uses the rule of cool. Like, that minigun, how much ammo does that burn through? Like, you pull the trigger on that thing and you're going to go dry in about 5 seconds. Like, you can't. I think Max says that he put 200 rounds into it. I think that the rate of fire on that thing is much faster.
Yeah,
than,
it's like 1,000 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, it would put like 2,000 rounds into it if you had a big enough belt. But
yeah.
As far as like the point of the scene, I think it's brilliant because it's the most like macho, over the top thing imaginable with the minigun. It's the biggest gun. I don't even know. Obviously, that became a thing with in Terminator 2, but that was a few years later. And soldiers don't walk around carrying miniguns. Like, that's not a thing.
That's like a helicopter mounted gun.
Yeah, and they had to modify it to give it to the character. And I don't know off the top of my head if this is the first movie that actually did that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is. But then, as a result of all of that, they shoot a bunch of plants and accomplish fucking nothing.
Aside from making a parking lot in the jungle.
Yeah, sure. But it's essentially there to show that, like, to, I guess, modify a quote from The Lord of the Rings, guns are no more use here. They are completely impotent. They have all this firepower and it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think it shows something else. So I think it's, so you're talking about, like, Kyle, you mentioned that, I think, when you said, it's the first time Mac is spooked. And so I think everyone is just going off that. And my kind of my equation, or my equivalent to that, is it's the kind of real world version of, you know, you're at the bar, you're at a pub with your pals. One of them gets into a fight with another group of guys. You don't know why, but you jump in and help.
Yeah, you trust them.
Yeah, it's the macho soldier version of that. You know, they see Mac going nuts and you know, and just like unloading into the jungle. They don't know why, but they think, well, you know, that's my pal, that's my soldier pal, that's my brother.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing again. Like, you know, you're in a bar and your pal gets into a fight with someone or a group of guys. You're not going to like stop and ask questions and be like, why are you doing this? You're just going to jump in and have your buddies back. It's the soldier version of that.
You know, you make a great point, Jimmy. It seems like that response, like Mac being screwed up by this, that says a lot, even more than anybody else, because he was that solid rock that really didn't seem like he could be shaken. And yet here he is, and he is not himself. That's a great point. I didn't think about that. Huh.
I'll gladly take the credit for that, but it was Kyle that brought it up.
Oh, it's Kyle. Oh, Kyle. The man of wisdom. My bad.
Don't put that title on me. I'll disappoint you.
Oh, no. You haven't yet, Kyle. You haven't yet. Well, cool. Nice, guys. Let's see here. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, yeah, I mean, the whole thing for me, I thought what was like especially 80s about this situation is, look, we're dealing with special ops here. Like Arnold and these guys, they're serious. I mean, they were sent on this mission for a reason, because they can handle it. Carl Weathers, there was really no faith in the CIA to get this done properly. So that's why they were there. So you would think that they would be able to control themselves a little bit better, especially because they would have an awareness for the ammo. I mean, come on. We have to, I mean, if this is a real situation, we have to think about the ammo. And I guess they couldn't have possibly pictured, I don't think they had any imagination, considering that all of them would get cut down except Arnold, of course. And, you know, by the end, of course, he doesn't even have an automated weapon, which is actually to his benefit for a strange reason. Right. But I think that these guys would be smarter than this. And I think something that takes me out of the whole situation, which I think is like just hyper analyzing and is a little silly, is that, you know, it's also very 80s, is the hip firing. Like every time these guys are in action, they're hip firing. I don't think I see a single one of them aim down the scope properly. And that just seems like just fun, stupid, brute action, right? Yeah. I can't imagine there's anything tactical about that.
But if you want to flex your entire upper body, though, that's the way to do it.
But again, like even that, I feel like is deliberate. I mean, I can't imagine someone with the physique of Arnold Schwarzenegger holding, aiming down the sights properly, because it kind of looks like he's holding a toy anyway. If he holds it like that, you know. But essentially, we've already seen that that's how they handle things. Whether it's ridiculous or not, they went into the guerrilla camp and just shot everyone and blew everything up, and it was the most ridiculous, like over the top 80s action thing. And then they keep doing that. And it doesn't work, which I think is part of the point.
Okay. That's good.
He fires a grenade, it blows an entire in an instant. Guys go flying. Yeah, it made me laugh a couple times.
No, it's fun. It's fun. Not everything. Like I don't care about a lot of these things. It's fun. I like fun. It's just, it's part of taking something seriously, right? Is the practicality of things, if that's where you want to go with this. Because, there's a lot of areas in this movie where you're supposed to take it very seriously. And I think thank goodness the Predator is considered a very serious threat start to finish. And I respect that. I can't stand how in, modern movies, last 10 years, they just undermine every serious situation. And that's something I love about watching these older films, is they respect the serious dilemmas that people are in. They respect the villain, they respect the protagonist. And that's great. This is a great example of that. Like we've been talking about, there's quite a few deaths. I mean, pretty much everybody dies. For me, there's only 2 deaths that really stand out to me, and they prompt me to ask a few more questions. So Billy the Tracker, I don't understand his deal entirely. It looks like he has a good sense for his surroundings. I guess he's a tracker. I've kind of considered him to be a tracker. Let me pull up a picture. I think I have a picture of him here. Yeah, of course. And we're going to talk about this scene. You know, this is one of the more memorable deaths. And they kind of, there's not very many of them left at this point. You have Arnold, Carl Weathers is dead, Mac is dead at this point. Pretty much everybody's dead. And it's him, Arnold, the girl, who was like a, I guess she was part of the guerrilla war fighters. She was a bad guy, and they took her in as sort of like a prisoner of war. And she proves to be pretty useful, so that was good to see. I thought she was annoying right off the bat, but yeah, she was pretty useful. And when they're trying to escape, you know, the predator slashing up their friends, they go across this this log. It's sort of like a log bridge. And Billy, he stands up to the predator, and he thinks he's super macho here, and he pulls out his knife, and, you know, he ditches any, you know, firearm he has, and he decides to stand up to the predator, you know, the good old fashioned way. He's trying to earn the predator's respect, you know, have a duel between two hunters. And it didn't go as planned, because as Arnold and the remaining few are running away, fleeing, they hear him screaming in agony. So it did not last very long. It didn't go well for Billy. I'm kind of wondering about this. Why? Because I think, like, my question is, why didn't you think that Billy was given the same respect, like a 1v1 like Dutch later gets in the end?
Yeah.
Or did he actually get that respect and he just got smacked instantly? You know, like, you wonder what happened there, because I think, Kyle, you mentioned it earlier that there are some unceremonious kills of important characters in this that are off screen, and his is the big one, right? So what do you guys think of that?
I would be interested to see what the script actually says, if there was any laid out fight sequence between them, and I wonder if maybe they condensed it or left it off screen as a reason for budget issues. I'm not sure. That's just speculative. But yes, this is an underwhelming death, because we don't see anything happen. We just see him yell. Very soon after, he has the, I'm ready to stand off against this creature. He doesn't really, I mean, they kind of know that it's inhuman, because he's the one who says, you know, no man, that's no man out in the jungle, you know, and I'm not scared of no man.
Yeah,
so, but he's scared now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is actually talked about on the commentary track as well. So my take on it, and I think this is what they talk about in the director John McTiernan talks about in the commentary track. This wasn't Billy wanting to go one-on-one. This was, I mean, it was, but this was Billy sacrificing himself to give them more time. Like, I'm almost positive that's what in the commentary track, that's what they talk about. So my take on that isn't that he was wanting to get his warrior moment, even though that's an element of it. My take on that is when he strips off and he just, and he takes the machete out and whatnot, he's made the decision that he's going to attempt to fight this thing, knowing he's probably going to die, but he's doing that to give Dutch and, is it Anna, the girl?
Yes,
and Pancho, I think the other
Pancho,
guys.
Yeah, Pancho, Anna, and Dutch to give them more time to escape. That was always my take on it. And I don't think there was ever a fight scene scripted or filmed. I think it was always designed to be off screen. And I think they talked about, like, they tried out different screams because they really wanted to play with the audience in terms of, like, whatever you can imagine is worse than whatever we could show you, because it's quite a visceral, painful scream. So, like, it wasn't an easy death that he got delivered. And that's interesting that your guys' take on it is in a negative way, that you don't get to see it. I think it's one of the best. I think it's a good directorial decision that you don't get to see his death. It's off screen. You hear the scream.
Practically speaking, I think him making himself a moving target would have given them more time. As it is, I get a sense that maybe he was impaled by the two spikes that come out of the predator's arm, and he just lifted Billy, and that's what would cause the scream.
Oh
yeah,
man.
Sly Jester has a comment there that is apropos to what we're talking about.
There's a fan. I just saw this on Reddit the other day. Sorry to jump in there, Kyle, but you're going to want to see this. There's I saw this on Reddit the other day. There's a fan comic made.
No, just one down for him. Sorry.
Hey, wait, Scottish, you go first. I don't want to cover you up with the chat.
Sorry, buddy, but like this is a fan made comic that's literally just described what you just.
No shit.
Genuinely, so this is so I literally just saw this on Reddit like a week or two ago. Hang on, let me see if I can scroll back. It's called Billy's Last Stand. So that's the last page of it, I think. But then if you go,
that's cool.
I've lost control of my mouse. Where's it gone? Anyway, but yes, that show. That's literally like I was like, I can't believe you're actually describing what's on this fan made comic. So there you go. That's you and whoever made that comic had the exact same thought process.
That's news to me.
Fan made or it's real? Like it's
fan made.
Okay, fan made. Okay, well that's cool. Nice, man. That's perfect.
Yeah,
oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let me make you big again.
Look forwards and this is on Reddit. If you just Google Billy's Last Stand,
that's sweet,
and it's like it is pretty cool.
Man, that's awesome.
So there's the fight scene that you never got to see.
I don't think so. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Cool. That's sweet, nice, Jimmy. I like you. You come here with some good material to use. I respect that. Yeah, catch us off guard. Oh, cool, man. Let's see. Let me get to the comment you said about Sly, though. Are you talking about this? No. I think you're talking about this one.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Native Americans have a strong sense of honor, and he tries his best to give Dutch time. Okay. I was wondering what his nationality was, if it was Native American or not. He was cool. He was all right. I mean, this was okay. There was nothing really particularly that interesting that stuck out to me before. I just knew him as the tracker. I feel like the Alien movies just did a much better job giving us a lot of great character moments that I could sit with before their demise. Unlike this movie. That's just me, though.
That I would agree with that. That was what I was going to jump in and say earlier. Is there's nothing wrong with the characters in Predator, but they're strong enough for the story to happen. But Billy is memorable because of this visual. He's not memorable because of his character arc or anything. Whereas you compare him to a side character in Aliens, compare him to Hudson, for example, there is no comparison. Hudson is better. Who's more memorable is a different question.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the deaths would be way better if you cared about the characters, right?
Theoretically, yes, but I guess that's not what they were trying to do, because the thing is, in Predator, like, the characters are all broadly very similar to each other. They each have their own thing, which having a thing is kind of something that movies and TV shows kind of forget to do. But like when they're all on the helicopter, and you're first being introduced to the characters, they're all doing things. One of them is chewing tobacco and like insistently trying to pass it around, like, hey, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? One of them, like Mac, is shaving multiple times in the film. Hawkins, I believe, is reading. They're all doing different things. And then you've got like Billy, whose role is the tracker. But these are small ways to differentiate between the characters rather than big changes in who they are. Which, I mean, in Aliens, they are all soldiers as well. But in Alien, for example, they're all very, very different people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, two totally different stories. Here, I like what Vex says here. Billy is given that respect. Billy is mysterious. His death mirrors that. The unknown intuition that resides within him specifically. Also, if we saw it, it would have undercut Dutch's face off. That's a good point, right? Yeah, like you finally see like the man versus monster. The successful encounter. Yeah, if we see him have any sort of standoff of competence, then that does take away from the fight.
Also, I feel like, the idea of having like an intelligent alien hunter who isn't just trying to kill everyone as quickly as possible, that gives room for moments like this. And it means that the writers have some wiggle room for like answering, why doesn't the Predator just kill everyone immediately? Because it has the ability to do that, but it doesn't want to. That's not the point of what it's trying to do. And I think part of the reason why Billy approaches this in this way is because he's seen what's happened to everyone else. They hide and they have a gun, typically. And it hasn't worked. So he reveals himself, he drops his gun, and he's there with a sword waiting. That obviously doesn't work. And as we see later with Dutch, once they get into like a fist fight, which I don't know if the Predator would have actually engaged Billy in a fist fight or just killed him with one stab. Dutch loses. He gets his ship pushed in, basically.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he ends up being able to defeat it is because of all the preparation that he had. He knew what he was doing. He was able to lure it into traps and all the rest of it. Standing there out in the open and waiting for the predator to come to you, you're going to lose. And I think that it would have been, borderline comedic if we had seen the predator just walk up to Billy and stab him and then keep going. There's no way they're having a fist fight.
That'd be messed up.
I think it would be cool to see. I don't think it would have made the movie better.
I think when we get to Arnold and his confrontation, he earns his respect clearly because he does outsmart him. And he literally becomes the predator in the end. The roles were reversed in that moment because, for the longest time, the predator was invisible. Then Arnold is now invisible and he's hunting them from the high ground. And I think he definitely earned his respect. I just don't see the predator giving Billy that respect. He didn't earn it. So who knows what he did here? I bet it was more likely he just sniped him from farther away. Because why would he?
I'm going to jump in and interrupt you because he keeps Billy's skull.
So we know it's his skull, huh?
Yeah. So I'm almost positive that you see the predator polishing this what is assumed or implied to be Billy's skull.
It's explicit. We see the corpse and then he pulls it out. It's absolutely Billy's.
Yeah, pulls his spine out.
And so and I think somebody on the comments, Rebel Rose YT pointed this out. So that's the predator showing, at least in the maybe not a sign of respect, but he was a worthy enough opponent for him to have his skull as a trophy. So I think I would have to disagree with you. I think he does. I think the predator does respect Billy because he takes the time to take his skull as a trophy. If he was just like an ant that he steps on, he wouldn't be, he wouldn't be taking the skull as a trophy.
He wouldn't want that. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
That's interesting that there's the different take on that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, that makes more sense. That's good. I appreciate that. Here's another question I have about more so the Predator's technologies, because we see, he really screws up all of these guys in totally different ways, right? And it's fun seeing him see his weaponry and what he's able to do, even with his claw that you referenced earlier. But there's a moment where one of the final deaths is when Dutch is carrying one of the soldiers, kind of one of the nameless ones that I don't think, I'd be surprised if you guys were familiar with the guy. Yeah, he's wounded. Oh wait, what was his name?
It's Poncho. Yeah, the two that are less memorable is you've got Poncho and then you've got Hawkins, who dies first. Everyone else is a bigger personality.
The two white guys.
By the way, Brawler, do you know that the actor who plays Hawkins is Shane Black, the writer Shane Black, and also director of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys?
The Predator.
You don't know what those are. Okay, you're gonna have to do some.
Sorry, Kyle. Those, man. Gosh, I gotta do some research. You caught me off guard.
He wrote. Yeah, that's a better. Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Random. He missed what you said.
Shane Black wrote Lethal Weapon, is what he was known for at the time, and the reason why he was cast in Predator is because I can't remember the name of the writer, but he knew Shane Black, so he asked him to look at the script, and then he ended up getting cast in the movie as well. Because Shane Black is not an actor; he just ended up in the movie.
Did he? Have
they wanted him on set as well, so he could do. So he could. They wanted him on set, but not as a writer, so that he could come up with one-liners on the fly.
Yes, because he improvised all of his jokes as well.
Yeah. That's cool. Wait, so which one of these guys is him?
On the guy with the glasses.
Way in the back.
Okay. To the left of Arnold.
No, sorry. Yeah,
his left.
Mascarine's mirror. Sorry. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Good to know. Well, in this instance, he's injured here, of course, and Arnold's carrying him, and the Predator snipes him. And he snipes him with something. He fires some kind of energy beam at him, and it kills him immediately. He's out of commission. And then the Predator fires at Arnold, and he goes off pretty fine. It's like it doesn't really affect him now that much. Now, I know he was holding his rifle, and I think it hit the rifle possibly.
Yeah.
And okay, I can understand that being a shield of some sorts, but I mean, this is some sort of advanced alien blast, and it really doesn't hinder Arnold through the rest of the movie, at least to my perception. I didn't see him, hobbling around, on 1 foot or something. He seemed pretty competent for the rest of the movie. And I'm kind of wondering, why wasn't he that affected? Is there any way of tracking or understanding like the power value of Predator's gear? Because that was one thing that did kind of stick out to me, that it didn't make that much of a difference against Arnold. I get it. It hit his weapon. But at the same time, I mean, I think this is like an energy blast. You think that wouldn't blunt the charge as much and would cause a fatal blow to some extent?
I mean, you're forgetting, so there's 2 things there. One, it hits the gun, and 2, you're forgetting that Arnold has lead character plot armor.
Yes.
That's a moment that stuck out to me as well on rewatch. Because you could theoretically argue at that point that maybe it just wanted to take out its gun because it knew that it wanted to have a 1v1 with Arnie. You could say that potentially. I think more likely it's just an inconsistency and it's plot armor. They wanted him. They needed the gun to go away, and they needed Arnie to not, die immediately. The way I would have done it, I guess, would be to have Poncho get shot, and then he runs away in one direction and falls off the waterfall, and then he loses his gun.
Well, yeah, I mean, I doubt he's going to be like, climbing back up that waterfall to find his weapon. I mean, he gets pretty far separated from the whole scene that he's been in this whole time once he falls down and the water takes him away.
This is kind of what I mean about like the wiggle room that the writers have, just because of the nature of how the Predator works. It's not trying to just one-shot everyone. It does that a couple of times, like if they make mistakes, or in the case of Poncho, he was dead anyway, so they got rid of him, or so the Predator got rid of him. But it would not be good sport, to use Arnie's words, for it to just snipe him in the face and then he's dead. Especially because he's the last one left.
Yeah, that would be really lame. I'm glad that didn't happen. Rebel Rose says something interesting. She says it's a plasma caster shot. He can vary the intensity. That's weird. I don't know why he would want to vary the intensity, like try to kill one of his prey. You know what I mean?
So you can do that in the AVP games that were very popular in the 90s, that started along with the comics, that started the crossover. Like that was like when you play as the Predator. I'm almost positive I can remember that's a part of the kind of the lore with that. Your shoulder cannon, your plasma caster, like you can, it's like an energy bar. The more full it is, the more damage it does. But that's obviously when they made the movie, that wasn't what they were thinking about.
That's
with clever retconning, you could answer that.
That kind of thing, it honestly like kind of drives me nuts. That kind of thing, it happens all the time in like Star Wars, is that they'll just be like this one thing that happens, and then before you know it, someone's made an encyclopedia on what this actually is. And it's like, this was never intended at all. It's just an inconsistency.
That's good. They try to help us though. They try to make up for it a little bit. Sometimes that makes for some interesting lore, right? A mistake and how far that goes. Like a great example is the stormtrooper hitting his head. Like there's a whole storyline behind that, and there's been so much discussion off of that stupid little mistake. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Another question I have, pertains to, like, we're getting towards the finale. The finale of the film is, Dutch is left alone, of course, and this is when he goes full on primal. He discovers that mud for some reason. He's covered in mud, and it shields himself from the Predator's like heat-seeking technologies, or his like infrared, thermal viewing, and that makes a big difference. Now finally he's got an advantage, and he sets up this plot of the forest with tons of traps, and he has a very successful engagement with the Predator, because eventually he does end up narrowly killing him and outsmarting him just by a nose hair. And I just kind of wonder, like, to me, it doesn't really make much sense why the Predator would fall for a lot of these tricks. I mean, he has been there, it seems from my impression, he's been in that forest for a very long time, and that he has become a master of the forest. And I understand that maybe he hasn't been pinned up against a foe like this, but I think I just kind of wonder, how, with all of his extensive tactical knowledge, why he was still able to fall for a lot of these traps that seemed almost like he could see them coming, even though he wasn't noticing Arnold in the mix.
But he does notice the trap though.
In the end, yes.
And he walks around. So I've actually always wondered this. So tell me what your guys' take is on this. In that scene, towards the end, the Predator sees that a trap has been laid, so he gets up and walks around, and then Arnie sets off the other trap. So in my mind, there's two ways that idea could have originated. Like in Dutch's mind, was that always Dutch's plan? Or did Dutch just get lucky that he had another trap that he could set off? Because you've got the main trap that's like where Predator's supposed to come down towards him. Predator sees that, so he walks around. Now, do you think was Dutch anticipating that he would do that, and therefore he would set off the secondary trap, or was Dutch expecting him to come down the main trap, and he just kind of got lucky that he had a backup trap that he had set as well? What's your take on that?
I mean, there's a third option, which maybe I'm reading way too far into this, but my thought on it is because when we see him trigger the trap, he kicks the little bit of wood that he wanted the Predator to walk over, which was underneath the spikes.
Yeah.
So just in my head, what I assumed that had happened is that it was all one trap, and that the log that falls on the Predator was the counterweight that was going to like send the spike.
Well
because
said.
the thing of spikes is it's just spikes, like that's going to fall, and he'll be like, okay. It needs to be driven into him by something. So it was lucky that the Predator was standing where he was, but no, I don't think that Dutch had planned for that. No.
Yeah, no, I like your explanation, because that's the big log is just the counterweight for the spike swing thing. Yeah, I like
Good
that.
stuff.
Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Well, I guess that's I was wondering about that too, because it seemed he was obviously surprised, like that the Predator was in that position. And I think that's like something interesting about the Predator that worked to Arnold's favor, because for whatever reason, well, we understand why, because we see it. The primal weaponry is a bit of an advantage. I think it's mostly because he does, by earning the Predator's respect, he evens the playing field, right? I mean, the Predator really, he goes hand to hand with him, and that gives him a huge advantage there in the end. And I think a lot of the Predator's undoing, although I think it's like the warrior spirit, I think it's also it's got an ego. I think that's like a funny angle to consider, because I mean, he thought he was the shit walking around that trap and standing over Arnold, not realizing that there's a second aspect of this trap that he didn't understand. And I think if he didn't have an ego, he could have possibly seen that coming, because he's a master of the forest. I mean, this is a tactical mastermind in this field, in this as an assassin, unlike anything that the earth has created, even a little bit more so than Arnold himself. So I kind of wondered if you guys thought maybe there's like an egotistical aspect of the Predator, or if I'm just like grasping at straws.
No, of course, because earlier, prior to the trap moment, the Predator takes off his helmet, revealing his face, and he takes off his shoulder mount, laser beam, whatever you want to call it, and goes at him hand to hand. And it is a moment for himself. He's not trying to give Arnie any kind of mercy. He just wants to prove to himself that he can take him on in a raw way.
You didn't think that was like, I thought that was supposed to be more like respectful, like warrior to warrior, man to man.
That's not how I took it. Anyone else see it differently?
To me, he got the more he took off, the weaker he got. I mean, obviously he doesn't have any of his gadgets or anything, but he just seems like, he was giving up almost. He wasn't like moving, or at least what I remember from it, 3 hours ago. But I feel like he was just like, walking slowly towards Arnold, letting Arnold take all the shots, and then, granted, he
was playing with him,
right?
I mean, yeah, he outmatched him so severely.
I mean, I didn't realize how tall he was until he picked him up.
I think he's 7'2".
Yeah.
This performer is amazing, by the way. I love the movements and what
I thought
he
they were the
does.
same size.
No, This is one of the things that I think is great, and they do this in Alien as well, is Van Damme originally, he's like 5'9". He's not big. He's 5'9". Arnie is not actually that tall. It's just that he's fucking big. And then a bunch of the other actors are like getting up to sort of 6'4", 6'5". The guy that plays the Predator is 7'2". That's that's essentially as tall as the guy who plays Chewbacca. He's big. Because they needed something that was big and scary enough to like legitimately and believably terrify these giant macho cartoon men from the 80s action movie. And you need someone with a physique like that. Obviously, they bulk it up with costume, but the starting point you need there is height. He needs to make Arnold Schwarzenegger look small, and he does.
Yeah, Kevin Peter Hall.
Yeah, he's also the helicopter pilot at the end.
Yeah, got a little cameo.
Oh, they should have had Andre the Giant.
That would have been so lame.
I don't know. Put on all
drunken stumblebum.
Yeah, I don't think the Predator would have been quite as agile if it was Andre.
So why did you guys think that Arnold, Dutch, had better luck in this final encounter with the Predator? Why was he able to beat him? Because I mean, if he hadn't had that grace moment, right, where everything just lined up, I mean, he'd probably be dead. But what about his encounter and his situation, the way he set things up? Why did that work better for him than it did the whole movie leading up to this point? Because I mean, it was literally just him, and he had no tools really at his disposal, and he got it done. He got the job done.
He had learned from what other people had done, the mistakes that had been made by other people. He no longer had to worry about anyone other than himself. There was no one else to protect. And he knew that only one of them was getting out of the jungle alive, which means, okay, if he dies and he loses, then he dies, like, fine. Whereas previously that wasn't really an option. Obviously, a big component there is that the Predator's technology is compromised with the mud. And they actually tested this on Mythbusters. I don't know if you guys had. So it's nonsense. Scientifically, that's not how it works, because the mud will heat up and you would be seen on thermal vision. But if that's how mud works in the movie, then fine. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care either. It doesn't bother me. And I'm a stickler when it comes to reality.
Is alien thermal vision, so maybe it is,
Yeah, maybe they haven't encountered mud before. I mean, the bit that I found a little bit strange, and I guess I still do, is that, fine, okay, it's using the visor to see through thermal vision, but when it takes its helmet off, it's still seeing through something. It's not normal vision that this thing has. And the vision that it does have is so much worse than a person.
Yeah.
I found that odd, but I guess that's how Predators work.
Yeah, this is not really an advancement. Like, he should not be this. I mean, even with his technology and, being able to see things thermal, I mean, that's not that great. I think something I learned to really respect about the Predator as a character is I don't think there's any possible chance of this thing being merciful or empathetic, because it can't see anyone's faces. It probably can't even see any other Predators' faces. I mean, how could it possibly have any sort of grace for something that's just a blob, a red blob, no character, no emotion? I don't really understand. I don't think it understands other languages, does it? Like people speaking, or the way they react to things.
It's implied that he does, because he's mimicking other characters having said things.
Oh, really?
It's kind of ambiguous, because I always took it as it was using technology to replay a recording, not that it was speaking as kind of like how I guess Bumblebee does in the Transformers movies. It wasn't that it understood the meaning of "what the hell are you?" and it was asking Arnold Schwarzenegger that. It was just replaying the sound of that.
Yeah, replaying, you say, but what about the moment when he's setting off his gauntlet bomb and he starts laughing like Billy did?
Yeah, that is the bit that I don't entirely like, because he is replaying a laugh that he heard from Billy earlier. And even if you don't understand the language, you can understand what a laugh communicates. I think that's fine. So it's playing that because the Predator is sadistic. Like there's a bunch of times when it plays dialogue that it had recorded from other people just to freak out the ones that are still left. That happens like 3 times.
The
bit that I don't like is it kind of leaning back and doing a kind of thing.
Yeah,
because that makes it seem like it is actually laughing at him, which I don't really like that.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was doing.
That seems out of character for the Predator to laugh like that. That's out of character for his like honorable code.
Yeah.
Because
the Predator comes across as a stoic character, and then all of a sudden he becomes a cackling villain.
He's clearly had one too many beers, and he's just laughing his ass off now.
He's showing the insanity of this thing.
Yeah, that was. Oh wait, sorry, you go.
I just have one question bouncing off. I forget who said it. Oh yeah, it was you, Jackson, saying how he can't see anybody's face. So like, why does he feel remorseful? This might be a stupid question. I don't know if it is or not, but that mask he wears, is that, if he takes it off, can he see everybody? Is it?
Well, yeah, that's the red vision.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, you can't see anything with the red.
Yeah,
so that is weird.
But remember, he is an alien. So
his eyeball,
on Yacha Prime on the Predator homeland, whatever the kind of like light spectrum is on the Predator homeworld, they probably see better. And that's my take on it, is that they always have, when they go on their intergalactic hunts, they always have that mask which has the various vision modes, because they're going to different planets.
And is this? I want to say this before I lose it. Why did this predator, single predator, head to Earth like he was in over his head? Like has he studied Earth? Does he know what he's up against?
I don't think he was in over his head.
No.
I mean, it's just one of them though. Versus
It's not stated in the first film. They elaborate on this, I'm guessing, in the comics, but they also elaborate on it a bit in the later ones. But if you take just the first film, the speculation is that this thing comes here every year, every few years, I forget the line, and it essentially hunts people for sport.
Okay. So he's just a horrible being. Okay.
Yeah, he's a big game hunter. It's also, they talk about how the Predator in this movie, in the first movie at least, is actually almost he's like a teenager who has sent out to prove himself to the clan, to his clan. That's mentioned in the commentary. It's also mentioned in, I think, Shane Black's The Predator, because you end up getting like that stupid big super predator, which if you take The Predator as full canon, which is sadly like the super predator is like the normal predator, whereas the 7-foot predator from Predator 1, that's a teenager.
Wow. Yeah. So he's just evil, huh? Well, I thought I couldn't tell if it was an accident or not that he can.
I didn't know. I didn't even think about that this is like it's a trip for them. I was under the impression, just watching this twice, that the Predator lived here, and I was wondering why he would live there, what he would eat. But that makes sense. This was sort of like, sort of a trial by fire, or just fun for him. That's cool.
Yeah, he's on safari. Yeah.
Well, there's one thing in terms of every time we cut to his POV of the thermal vision, you hear Indiana Jones bullwhip crack, and it bothers the hell out of me.
What?
With the sound design. You don't remember?
No. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
Every time it cuts to his POV, it's why?
Cool. It's cool, man.
I don't like it.
Cool.
I don't like that.
He's zeroing in, Kyle.
No, it's every time it cuts to his POV. He's not zeroing in on anything.
Oh.
It's just every time that the movie cuts to his POV. Yeah. It would make sense if what you're, in the context of what you're saying of, he's got a target, locks in on, like maybe it's a zoom sound design. No, it's just every time. I don't like that part.
I never picked up on that, but now I'm never going to not be able to be thinking of the Indiana Jones whip.
Thanks for doing that, Kyle. You ruined his experience. You ruined his childhood, Kyle.
I don't know why you invite me on these, man.
Nice. Here, let me get to some of the chats real quick. Vex. Dutch learned, and he was far more seasoned in the field compared to anyone else. Dylan was closest, but his senses were dull due to his pencil pushing. Oh, that's right. Nice.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, here we go. Parked file. Some friends tested out the mud too. Sure, our thermal cameras probably aren't as high tech as the space aliens, but it worked with the tech we have now. Oh, is this like a real application he's talking about, or he's kidding? So something weird about this I learned is that Proctfile mentions how hot the jungle is. I guess this was filmed. Fun fact: this was filmed in Mexico, and it was actually freezing cold. So it's weird that they were able to like give you the sense that it was actually like a hot, scalding desert. Yeah,
That's
but he
something
says
I like about movies from the era is they do a lot of stuff with sweat. Everyone is sweating, and you rarely see that now. It's so effective.
Yeah. Except for Michael Bay movies.
Nice.
Truckloads of baby oil.
Are you excited for Michael Bay's Skibbity Toilet film, Kyle?
What the fuck is that?
What?
You don't know about that?
I know that it's supposedly happening.
It's happening. Not a thing. That's not happening, a thing. Random.
Shut up. That's not a thing. Come on.
Get ready for it. Are your kids talking about Skibbity Toilet yet? Scottish?
I mean, they were a year ago. Is that not like that's so last year?
No, it's out. Yeah, it's out. It'll be back once the movie's out. You can see it in IMAX 3D.
My kids will probably see it 6 or 7 times.
Oh gosh. Let's see. All right, let's see. Sly Jester. I think that the Predator knows he has the trump card, and if he dies, he plans on taking down Dutch with him. Oh yeah, right. So might as well just show him your balls. Maybe that's not the proper not the proper expression. Oh, nice, cool, nice, great. Well, so we were talking about a few of the weaknesses of the movies, and I wanted to get to this point because we've mentioned a few times the character, right, and how characters weren't exactly the best defined as they could have been. That's one of my weaknesses with the movie. Like, that's something I wish I could change. Is I wish we could just spend more time with these characters to invest, so I could be interested in them before they die. Because I don't want anybody to die. Make me care. Make me care, director. I'd love to care more about these characters and actually know who's who. Which, after watching this twice, it was hard for me to follow. And I think I'm able to attach to a character pretty well if they're developed properly. Maybe this takes a few chances. I don't know. But what if there's like some low points from the movie for you guys that you wish you could change?
My low point is Carl Weathers' character dying so abruptly. I mean, he just got killed by Drago 2 years before, and then you're going to bring him back and you're going to kill him again. I was like, no, you don't do that.
And then 20 years later, he gets killed 10 years later, he gets killed by the alligator.
He falls out the window.
Poor Carl.
I got I mean, this is really minor, but I don't like that the final half hour is just Arnie and the Predator. And there is no dialogue from "get to the chopper" to "you're one ugly motherfucker." Apart from, and that would have been great if there was just no dialogue there. There are 2 lines of dialogue in the middle. And that's when he says he couldn't see me.
Yes.
When he realizes that he couldn't see him because the audience needed to, they obviously added that to make sure that the audience understood that, even though it's obvious. And then he also says, like, "bleed, you bastard," after I think he blows him up with something. I can't remember. Completely, you don't need the dialogue. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger is talking to himself for the benefit of the audience. And I never like it when characters do that because it's usually very obviously like expositional. I would have removed both of those lines, but the biggest problem for me, as I said earlier, is that I would just remove the opening shot of the film with the spaceship.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Huh. Cool.
I think the movie...
Some people don't even remember that shot.
Yeah, it is kind of it's forgettable. It is. I gotta say, the movie picks up for me when Arnold is alone in that third act, and when he comes out of the lake or the pond, whatever you want to call it, after the waterfall. That's when the movie like really starts for me. That's the most memorable portion of the movie. I really do think that the film didn't utilize the location as well as they could have, because let's face it, most of the time with the team, they're on the ground in the same forest for the entire time. They didn't utilize any quarries, any other kind of waterfalls, and traversing different terrain in the jungle, and utilized different fight sequences or action sequences. Like, what if they had some kind of chase that happened? I know it's kind of far-fetched, but we already got some shots of the Predator up in the tree. Well, what if there was some kind of chase in the treetops, where, and I'm not talking about like swinging on vines and bullshit, but kind of like running and not or they're trying to prevent themselves or whichever characters on the branches from falling off the tree,
That'd be sweet.
and they're trying to chase the predator at one point. Maybe it was Carl Weathers who had a kind of epic chase sequence he was trying to go after, and he dies anyway. But utilizing the terrain in a creative way, and I don't think they utilized it as well as they could have, because it seems very repetitious for the majority of the mid portion of the movie.
Yeah, so much of the map is those tall trees, right? I mean, that's where Predator is most of the time. He's up there in the tree sniping down on those guys. That would be so cool. Both of them like battling each other in the trees, like hopping tree to tree, trying to knock each other off. Oh man.
And maybe someone falls down the tree and dies that way. Maybe as a result of a conflict or an interaction from the predator, but maybe doesn't die from directly the predator, but indirectly.
That could have been a cool skirmish, like when all of the special forces were trying to figure out how to deal with him. Instead of laying traps, like they all climb up in the trees and try to like find a good point to spot him.
Right, and I like the traps. The traps are great. That's part of the creative commitment and ideas that they put in the film that I'd like, and it's part of what makes the third act fun. And it's essentially like Home Alone in the jungle with Arnold Schwarzenegger, before Home Alone. But the movie really does pick up for me when it becomes he's the final girl, in the horror movie.
Final girl.
Yeah, and I love that it takes place at night. It's very moody, and it's muddy, and he looks really fucking cool while he's doing all this stuff. It's great.
What do you think of Vex's biggest problem with the movie? The biggest problem is that there's a woman in this movie.
I appreciate you, Vex.
I think
you're able to be honest.
She can say it. She can say it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, she's a useless character. The whatever her, I don't even know her name.
I don't like it when these movies give us. I want, if you give me a great female character that I can not be irritated by, please do. I would love that. I don't want to be irritated by female characters. If she's great, if she's interesting, if she's not nagging or badgering, I would love her. But they always are in these. It's like I can't help myself. At first she was all of that, and I was like, oh great, and I knew she was going to last till the end.
Well, what makes it worse, dude, is that this bitch knew how to speak English the whole time, and she held it back until Arnold Schwarzenegger puts her, confronts her and gets in her face. Tell me! Fucking tell me!
She's probably suffering from a massive amount of PTSD.
I don't give a fuck. Cut the bullshit!
Well, okay, what I was trying to say is she ended up being more likable once she, accepted the terms that they all need each other, and she wasn't being irritating like she was. But it took a long time to get there. The first half was pretty rough. Pretty rough. I don't know. That's just some things I would change. Real quick before we finish off, I'm curious to know, because like we think about Alien and Predator, those two just go together so well. They're so similar yet so different. And it would be nice if we could just close by trying to figure out what that is. What is it about both of these movies, especially like the first one, the first Alien, the first Predator, that seems like what do they share? What is the correlation? Because it's there, and I think it's hard to put your finger on what exactly it is. You guys have any ideas?
Filmmakers at the top of their game.
The origins.
7 characters being hunted by an extraterrestrial creature.
Is that as far as it goes? Like, is that
no? There's obviously
like that's I guess that's it, right? I mean, they're totally different settings, right? Dark, confined space and Alien. You have lit up, bright, luscious forest here in Predator. Neither group really understands the depth of the hell that they found themselves in as they slowly get picked off one by one, and they become wiser to it, and they learn from their mistakes, death by death.
I would like, serious answer. I would say that they don't have very much in common.
Thank you.
I think that,
Kyle's like, shut up, bro.
when they were making the film, it was kind of referred to as Alien in the Jungle. And I can understand that, because like, if you look at the words on a piece of paper, if you're reading the script, I can see that. But the vibe that you get from the film, largely because it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film and there's a lot of action, there's cheesy one-liners and machine guns, with infinite ammo hacks. That is very, very different to what they did in Alien. It's kind of like how Die Hard became, Die Hard on a bus is what Speed became referred to as. Die Hard on a plane was, I think, Air Force One is what that was called. And those films, I think, have more in common. But no, like Alien and Predator, I think that they are compared more than they otherwise would be because of the crossover that happened later.
Yeah, that contrived crossover. I am in complete agreement with that. I really don't see the parallels in how they live in the same universe. It's just the only commonality is they're both aliens. Oh, I don't give a fuck. So what?
Okay.
You gonna combine Men in Black with the Alien and Predator universe?
Oh my gosh. Ew. I'm so glad that didn't happen. Oh, Megan the Texan, she's calling out something very, very true about this panel. Such a cool live stream. So many accents. Wait, so Random, are you so you're from the UK, right?
Yeah, I'm in England, so I'm on the same time zone but different country as Jimmy.
Yes.
And Jimmy, you are in Scotland.
I am indeed, yes.
Wow, dang. So what time is it there right now?
1 a.m.
Is it 1 a.m. for you too, Random?
Yes, it is.
Yes, we're the same.
Yeah, they're in the future. They're in the next day.
They see more.
The UK is not that big. Same time zone, yeah.
Oh, that's
Jimmy.
So cool.
I have a question.
Go.
So you're from Scotland. So do they sell this drink Iron Brew just like they sell Pepsi here in the States?
Iron Brew is amazing.
Whoa,
yes, that is my favorite. I order that from Scotland all the time. It is one of my favorite sodas out there. It's so good.
It is literally like water for me. Now that's not a good thing, and if my kids are watching, this is a bad thing. But yeah, it's very much like it's if you like an Idiocracy when they water the crops with Gatorade. That's me.
Wait, so is like a beer or something?
It's like an orange soda.
It's a soft drink. It's like Coke, Pepsi, Sprite. There's a brilliant statistic. Like the most popular soft drink in every developed country in the world is Coca-Cola, apart from Scotland. But it's Iron Brew.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
some say it almost has like a hint of bubblegum, but not like
It's a weird flavor, but I mean it's nice.
Delicious.
Honestly, like if you think about it, like Coca-Cola, the only reason why that doesn't feel like a weird flavor is because everyone's drunk so much of it. If you gave that to a child, they'd be like, "Oh, what does that taste like?" It just kind of tastes like Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
it's the same with Iron Brew.
Man, get me in on that. You got to get me one of those, Luke.
Whereabouts, Random? Whereabouts are you?
Oxfordshire.
Right. Oh. So I'm Glasgow. So yeah, it's, just to give you guys context, distance wise, that's like maybe a 7-hour drive.
Oh,
something like that. Yeah, it's not. The UK is not big.
Time for a meetup.
Yeah, Jimmy, you get a face reveal. Lucky. Nice. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us here tonight. It was a real pleasure talking with this great panel of guests. Thank you guys, Jimmy and Random, for staying up late, 1 a.m. It's only 8 p.m. here, Eastern time. We appreciate you for spending your night with us, and Kyle, of course, you as well. For people that aren't aware of these channels, please check them out. Please, it's always a pleasure having these guys on, and Random and Kyle. It's always a great pleasure having you guys on regularly to talk about sci-fi stuff, especially with you, Random. So I hope we could get you on and talk about Predator 2 eventually in the future. I think that would be fun, especially because you've only seen it once.
But I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. Yeah, so that could be interesting. But yeah, and Jimmy, man, it was cool having you on, bro.
Yeah, a tease for Predator 2.
Ooh, there you go. He spoiled it, man.
That's beautiful. Is that a steelbook?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Man, that's gorgeous. Yes, and check out Jimmy's channel too. I saw you. Gosh, I don't know where I saw you first. Something. I think I was on Wilkie's channel, and you were in the chat talking.
Possibly.
Yeah. And then I subbed to you, and I started watching your stuff, and then I watched your conversation you had with Wilkie's Movies and Music. And if you want to get to know Jimmy better, you could check that out and his channel, because I really enjoyed that. And yeah, it's a real pleasure having you on here, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Pleasure's all mine.
Yeah. Well, if you guys enjoyed what we had to say today, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to Box Office Brawler as well. Next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern time, we're back normal time. We're going to be talking about Master and Commander. We have another exciting panel. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you, everyone.
person are you? Are you the kind that sees signs, sees miracles? Or do you believe that people just get lucky?